safety Grant Delpit asked about having to defend both quarterback Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, the running back, in the same backfield.
They either got to run the ball or pass the ball, so that's their two best players on offense.
How hard is he to bring down?
Not hard.
Grant, going back to that, we saw it last year. You obviously were afraid in that first matchup to take him on.
Yeah.
So where does that come from? Is that a mindset?
We're playing football, man. It's tackle football. Somebody got the ball, you got to bring them down.
Spencer, you gotta like the simplicity of it, but it's a completely different challenge when you talk about Jackson and you talk about Henry. How important is the interior of that defensive line, it's a huge upgrade this year for the Browns?
Yeah. I mean, it's massively important. What I think is interesting is they've built themselves as like this attacking front, right? Like, we're going to get after it. We're going to get in the backfield and make things hard for quarterbacks. And so I think in a matchup like this, the thing you got to remember is, you want to attack, but with Lamar Jackson, you got to make sure you sort of keep him contained in the pocket too. So you can't get too far upfield. You have to have gap integrity where you can't give up lanes where he can kind of escape and do those things. And the same thing applies to Derrick Henry, because you let him get outside of you or you let him sort of slip through a hole and he could break one for a big gain, as we saw against the Bills in week 1. So you got to remember those things. This is one of the biggest games of the year in terms of like sound tackling. Now, obviously teams would always like to have sound tackling. And I think in previous years, especially the Joe Woods defenses, that was always a big issue. Tackling was always a problem for this team. But in this game specifically, Lamar Jackson, who can make you miss in a phone booth, if you give him a second chance to break off a play, he's going to do it. Same thing with Derrick Henry. Like, he's such a physical presence. If he gets you to the ground or stiff arms you, that nasty stiff arm he has, he's going to break it for a big gain. So having the ability to contain Lamar in the pocket and sort of bottle things up before they really gain momentum, moving downfield or breaking in for a big gain is a key. And obviously being able to tackle if that does happen, like those corners and safeties being able to fly up and make plays happen, which obviously you heard Grant there say it's not hard to tackle Derrick Henry at all. Maybe a little bulletin board material, we'll see. But he has to now sort of meet that moment and live up to that task and be able to bring somebody like Derrick Henry to the ground, because you don't want him to gain momentum and be able to break off some big ones like he did this past week. So yeah, it's going to be a challenge. And I think what's interesting with like Lamar and Derrick Henry too is they present sort of like the perfect combo of like finesse and power. Like, Derrick is such a physical specimen, such a freak. And Lamar is just such this like elusive guy. It's you have to kind of account for everything with those two, and it's such an amazing sort of weapon for any team to have those two guys as a 1-2 punch out of the backfield.